Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Shawn from Insights here, and today we're going to take a look at some of Siemens machine mount I/O. In this case, we're going to look at the ET200AL line, and I thought we'd start with going over some slides and then taking a look at some physical units. So with that said, let's go over to the computer here, and I'll get my glasses on, and we'll switch screens here. And these slides are slides that we covered with Siemens just a few months ago. And I just wanted to go through them quickly, and then we'll take a look at the hardware itself. But in any case, we've talked about the S7 1200 Gen 1. We've talked about the ET200 MP and the S7 1500. We talked about the ET200 SP recently. And now we're going to dig into the AL. And where it fits in Siemens' line of I/O is the fact that it's that IP6567 I/O, but it's rated for indoors, okay? Not outdoors. So, we covered the MP and the SP, but now we're taking a look at the AL. I don't have any of the Pro, but the major difference is the Pro, they all sit next to each other. With the AL, they're separated. The different I/O modules are separated from each other. And then, of course, we'll take a look in the future at the EcoPN, which is outdoor rated. Now, having said that, this is a standard marketing slide showing, hey, if you have a panel, we have in-panel stuff. If you need things to go on your machine, we have that too. And then if you need things to go outside in the cold or maybe in a freezer, we have those as well. So in any case, let me go on to this next slide and let's talk a little bit about the advantages of machine mount I/O. And the big thing is, the I/O modules do cost more, right? And the cabling costs more because you're using all like M12 or M8 quick disconnects, right? But you don't need a panel. You don't need the expense of wiring everything from the I/O cards to the terminal blocks, and then from terminal blocks to your field devices. So there's a huge savings there. As somebody who's recently wired up a lot of demos, I can tell you wiring takes a long time. And so I've actually heard people say that they went to machine mount style I/O because they can put their machines together so much quicker. They don't have to build a panel. And we've had a lot of vendors on talking about machine mount products and how they can speed your, the building of a machine. So in that case, there's some advantages there. And if you just want to plop some I/O down on the line somewhere, you don't need to have an enclosure and everything that goes in an enclosure along with your I/O. That's the advantage. The disadvantage is, yes, the I/O itself is more expensive and the cabling is more expensive. So there's just pros and cons whether you want in-panel I/O or you want machine mount I/O. Now, here's 3 of Siemens' different machine mount I/O. We're taking a look at the AL today, and you can see some of the areas of application, handling, assembly, special machine building, light and flexible. This is important because the modules are extremely light, right? And very well suited for mobile applications, okay? Whether it be on some kind of robot arm or some kind of, mobile device, they are extremely light. And, they can actually be an extension of the ET200 SP, which is unique. So there's a module for the ET200 XP that will extend its bus out to the, machine mount I/O, which I think is really cool. Now, as far as what it looks like, here's a great picture of it. You can see we have different types of I/O modules. These units can be purchased as digital in, digital out, digital in and out, analog in, analog out, I/O link. And they all have a high resistance to vibration, so high vibration numbers on these guys. The thing here that is different, though, is they do need an interface module to begin with, and then you'll have several different I/O modules or I/O link modules. And you can see here's your interface module, right? And this interface module is, it's connecting from here up to your Profinet. And then this is an internal bus for the different I/O modules, kind of like a backplane you would have on a, either an ET200, MP or SP, right? And you can also daisy chain the power between the modules too. And we'll see that when we actually take a look at the hardware itself. You can see this particular model has M8s, and these have M12s. And then you can see here, this is the bus that can come off the ET200 SP, where you would not need an interface module, you just need the I/O modules here. So in any case, distance up to 15 meters between the two modules. Now, all the cables I have here are very short, but 15 meters between modules, that's pretty cool. So if you had several modules you need to put down the side of a conveyor, you could have those modules all come back to one interface module. And there's a maximum of 16 modules total to that interface connection. Okay, so here's a little bit more about if you want to expand it off of an ET200SP configuration. You can see that information there. I think it's more classically you would have your own interface module on the ET200AL system, but it is available. Also, it supports multi-field bus configurations. So if you want to use it with, maybe not on Profinet, maybe you want to use it on Ethernet IP, or you want to use it on Modbus TCP. I haven't tried that yet, but this slide talks about that. And of course, all the drawings are available. I'll leave these links up there. You'll see all these links. So I'll leave these slides up so you can get to those links. It is supported in the selection tool, etc. So you see all that there. Now, let's go ahead and take a physical look at it out here. And here I have a demo board I've made up for my students here at the Automation School, so they can grab this and bring it to their station when they want to test out that ET200AL line of machine mount I/O. And let me take myself off so we don't cover up any of the I/O. And you can see this is my interface module. It does not have to be all the way on the left-hand side as you saw in those previous pictures. And then I have a digital in, digital out module. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more here so we can see the writing on the modules themselves here. So you can see this is a digital in, DIQ4, DQ4. So the first four inputs can be either ins or outs, and the second four are outs, 24 volts DC, ET200AL. Okay, and there's 2 points per M12, okay? And you'll see later I'll show you I have a Y connector so I can actually wire in two different inputs into that port. And then over here we can see we have our interface module. We have two Profinet ports, okay? So if you wanted to daisy chain multiple interface modules from one to another, you could. And then down to here at the bottom you have power, okay, which you can daisy chain. And then you have communications, okay? This is like the backplane. All right, and let me zoom out here a little bit. And over here, this is an I/O link module. Okay, this is 4IO link. Okay, 4XIO link. Okay, and we'll have videos on both of these modules coming up in the coming days. So let me recenter this. Okay, as far as I/O here, I'm just using. I do want to thank Siemens for sending these modules in, and for sponsoring this episode, so I could bring it to you ad-free. I didn't have any I/O Siemens sensors to go with it, so I just grabbed stuff I had lying around. This was actually donated. The stack light was donated to us from a local customer, so thank you to him. And the rest of the stuff is just stuff I had lying around from previous courses. But in any case, let's go ahead and wire this up now. And we'll typically start with what we would call our Profinet or Ethernet cable, okay? So on one side I have the RJ45, and the other side I have the quick disconnect to go to the interface module. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to tighten them all up right now, but you can see that. All right, the next thing would be power. Now, I didn't have a power cable with flying leads, so I just cut the connector off one of the ends and put my own connector on it so I can plug into my power supply. But this would be power in, going right there. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to put it all the way in. And then from module to module to module, we have both power and communications. And so I have these short jumpers that Siemens sent over. And I have them in a loop here because I'm trying to keep the space requirements to a minimum. So we'll put power in like this. Okay. And communications. Again, I want students to be able to just grab this and put it right into their, bring it right over to the lab station so they can actually do some hands-on with it. And so communication goes here, and power goes here. All right. It's kind of hard to be doing this while I'm filming, but you guys get the picture, right? All right. And so you would do that from the unit to unit to unit, again, 15 meters max, right? And so the next thing would be the I/O. And of course, like I said, there's 2 per port here. So we have 4 in or out, and then 4 out. And so what I'm using is this Y connector going out to, I'm going to go to 2 proxies. So we just put that in here. And now I can wire it up to my 2 proxies. And what we'll do is, in coming videos, what I'll do is I will wire this completely up, and then we'll actually bring in this first module, and then we'll have another episode where we do the I/O link. That was a little interesting, a little bit different than just doing your regular I/O modules. But for now, that is a quick look at the ET200 AL line of machine mount I/O, indoor but IP6567 I/O from Siemens. And please stay tuned. We got 2 more episodes on this, and then we'll switch over to the EcoPN, which is another interesting product from Siemens. But again, I want to thank Siemens for sending these pieces of these I/O blocks in, and for sponsoring this episode to make it ad-free. And I want to thank you for tuning back in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below in the comment section. And with that, I want to wish you all good health and happiness. And until next time, my friends, peace.